What would you say in the first 60 seconds after being fired? And how could those words turn a career-ending moment into a real raise at a better job? If you've ever frozen in a high-stakes conversation, this is for you. As you listen, drop a quick comment. What's your toughest workplace conversation right now? Negotiating pay, pushing back on a deadline, or asking for resources? Let me tell you a story. This is about Sarah. Real person. Real situation. Monday, 9:04 a.m. The office smelled like coffee and printer toner. Her badge beeped green. She thought that was a good sign. It wasn't. Her manager was waiting with HR. "I'm sorry, but today is your last day." The words landed like cold metal. 6 years in product marketing, solid reviews. A reorg swept the team. In the next 6 minutes, she would either accept a basic severance and leave quietly, or say something smarter that would change her career. I've coached professionals through layoffs, salary standoffs, and promotion stalls for years. The pattern is consistent. The people who win don't talk more. They frame better. By the end of this story, you'll know the one sentence that changed everything for Sarah, and a simple 4-step framework you can use when you're ambushed by a tough conversation. Here's where everything went wrong. HR slid a folder across the table. Standard package. Her manager clicked a pen without looking up. Sarah's chest tightened. She reached for logic to fix an emotional problem. Wait, my Q3 campaign drove a 19% lift, and I have emails. "We appreciate your work," HR said. "This is a business decision. What about my promotion track? What about the bonus?" "This is final," her manager added. "We can give you time to pack." 3 fatal errors in those first 90 seconds. First, she argued the past instead of shaping the frame. She listed achievements while HR controlled the frame. Business decision. When you fight the past, you lose the future. Second, she triggered reactance with rapid-fire defense. Pressure creates resistance. The more she pushed, the more they defended their choice. Third, she had no BATNA in mind. No best alternative. Without a clear walkaway or next step, desperation leaks, and the other side smells it. She left with the folder and a headache. That night, something changed. She called a mentor expecting sympathy. She got strategy instead. "Stop trying to win with more information," the mentor said. "Win with a better frame. Tomorrow you'll do 2 things. Change the conversation in the room you're in, and create a better room to walk into." Then came the framework. LAT. Label, align, trade, elevate. It blends tactical empathy with influence triggers. Think of it as a mental reset switch for high-stress moments. Most people respond to pressure with data dumps or defense. LAT slows the moment, creates psychological safety, then pivots to value and choice. First, label. You name the emotion or constraint you hear, without judgment and without your own panic. When you say "it sounds like," or "it seems," the other side feels seen, not attacked, and the temperature drops. Sarah practiced lines in a whisper. "It sounds like the decision is structural and not performance-based. It seems you're constrained by a timeline and policy." She wasn't agreeing, she was observing. That earns micro-trust. The brain moves from defensive to dialogic. Second, align. You connect your ask to a principle they care about: fairness, continuity, compliance, cost control, brand reputation. This creates consistency pressure in your favor. Sarah rehearsed. "You've emphasized fairness through this process. To uphold that, I'd like to confirm the performance basis and references used. You've prioritized continuity for key projects. To support that, I can document transition risks and mitigation within 48 hours. When you reflect their principle, you convert your request into their idea of integrity. Third, trade. Move from pleading to conditional exchanges. Use if, then, anchored on objective standards, market data, policy precedents, workload risk. Sarah wrote, "If we can extend healthcare to 3 months and include outplacement support, then I'll finalize a transition memo and brief my successor on the top accounts this week. If we can classify the departure as a reorg with eligible for rehire status, Then I'll be available for 2 handoff calls post-exit. Reciprocity beats begging. She also anchored with a range that favored her, then bracketed. Colleagues in similar reorgs received 8 to 12 weeks. I'm targeting 10 weeks plus healthcare. Fourth, elevate. Open the future. Seed social proof and scarcity while staying respectful. Internally. This is one room. My value travels. Externally, she drafted a note to her network. I'm exploring product marketing roles where launch accuracy and storytelling move revenue. 2 recent wins, a Q3 pipeline lift and a launch playbook that reduced ramp time. If that's top of mind for you, I'd love to compare notes. Options reduce fear, and fear shrinks your voice. Elevation expands it. She slept. Not well, but enough to slow her pulse. 2 days later, Sarah walked back into that office. 6 minutes. That's all it took. It sounds like the decision stands and the timeline is tight, she began. Correct, HR said. Today is your last day on payroll. Severance is 6 weeks. You've emphasized fairness and continuity, Sarah continued, voice steady. To support both, here's what I'm proposing. If we extend to 10 weeks and include 3 months of healthcare plus eligible for rehire status, she said, then I'll deliver a transition memo by Friday, brief my successor on the top 5 accounts, and be available for 2 handoff calls after exit. This protects continuity and avoids revenue slip. 10 weeks is above policy, her manager said. Understood, Sarah replied. In similar reorgs, peers received 8 to 12 weeks based on account risk. My accounts connect directly to Q1 launch readiness. I want to make sure those ship clean. What's the flexibility within policy for continuity critical roles? There is some discretion for business risk, HR admitted. Appreciate that. Let's land on 10 weeks, 3 months of healthcare eligible for rehire, and I'll deliver the transition assets by Friday at 5 p.m. Does that align with your priorities? Her manager exhaled. That would help, yes. HR paused. We can approve 9 weeks plus 2 months of healthcare, rehire eligible. Final. Sarah mirrored softly. 2 months of healthcare. Then she let silence do the heavy lifting. HR filled it. And we can include outplacement support. Thank you, Sarah said. I'll send written confirmation and the transition schedule by end of day. No arguing. She labeled, aligned, traded, and let silence travel. The result? She walked out with significantly more severance than first offered, rehire eligibility, outplacement support, and, because she had already elevated, 2 warm introductions by Thursday. 3 weeks later, she accepted an offer 42% higher than her previous base. How? The same framework powered her salary negotiation. She labeled the hiring manager's constraint. It sounds like you're balancing internal equity with speed to hire. She aligned with their principle. You've emphasized launch accuracy. My last 2 launches cut ramp time by 28%. She traded. If we move base to this range and include a sign-on that bridges the move, then I'll commit to a 90-day roadmap that de-risks your Q2 release. She elevated. I'm considering 2 roles, both with high visibility launches. I'd love to be here if we can align. What can you apply this week? First, don't fight the past. Frame the future. Second, trade value for policy flexibility. You'll be surprised how often policy includes discretion windows. Third, practice silence. After a clear ask, stop talking. Let your words do the work. 2 simple actions you can take now. 1. Write your LAT card. On a sticky note, label, align, trade, elevate. Keep it near your keyboard and use it once in a low-stakes conversation. 2. Draft your 6-minute script. 1 paragraph for your label, 1 for the principle you'll align to, 1 for the trade you'll propose, and 1 elevate line for your network. Most people make the same mistake Sarah made at first. They try to fix an emotional decision with more data. Now you know what she learned. Shift the frame first, trade second, elevate always. Next time you face that conversation, you'll be ready. Share your biggest challenge in the comments. salary, severance, or scope creep, and subscribe for new workplace persuasion tactics every week. If this helped, send it to one colleague who needs the LATE framework today. You waited for it. Here's the sentence that changed everything for Sarah. It sounds like the decision is structural. If we can align on a fair exit that protects continuity, I'll trade you a clean handoff that de-risks your launch. Quick reference before you head into your day. Label, it sounds like you're under pressure to hit X. Align, you've emphasized principle. To uphold that, trade, if we do A and B, then I'll deliver C and D. Use objective ranges. Elevate, here's how I'll make the transition clean and here's what I'm exploring next.